Hello, professors. I am Susana Castillo, and today I will be presenting my internship report called For You Two Idiomas Brazil Bringing the World to Underprivileged People. I performed my internships during 24 weeks at an English school called For You Two Idiomas, located in São Paulo, Brazil. They are a social business with a mission to democratize English learning for Brazilians. They offer quality English classes given by foreign teachers at a low cost to people in underprivileged areas of the country. From the very beginning, I fell in love with their mission, and as I got to work with them, I realized the great work they do as a social business because they not only make English learning but also intercultural experiences available for Brazilians of all social and economic levels. They recruited me as part of their international talent team. I was part of a program they have in which they offer accommodation, a monthly stipend to cover basic expenses, transport allowance, Portuguese classes, a certificate of participation, and a week of training about teaching skills and how to implement their methodology. As an intern, I was assigned to work in the B2C team, business to consumer, so directly with students, more specifically with a product and pedagogical team. With them in those departments, I would help conducting research, translation, editing, and proofreading of texts for the creation of materials for the classes. And I would also teach some English classes for kids and adults of all ages and of all levels, from basic, intermediate, and advanced levels. A big part of my internships, I performed those tasks at the branch the school has in Santana, a neighborhood in São Paulo. Here you can see some pictures of me with part of the team and with some students in the classroom. But due to the COVID-19 world pandemic, we also had to move to virtual work. So a big part of my internships, I also worked from home. And I communicated with the rest of the team through virtual meetings and emails. And of course, also I had to give the online classes. Now, when I first started working with For You Two, I was really excited about the work they do, but I was also a little concerned about being able to put into practice the things I had learned at the university, because that's what internships are for, after all. But after I started working with them, I realized I was going to be able to do so because the tasks I was assigned to were very related to my professional option. I did have the chance to perform some translations for the product team for the creation of the materials. And not only that, but I was also asked to conduct a lot of research about different topics in English and Spanish. And I had to edit and proofread materials in both languages. In Spanish too, because they had this, they have been preparing for this new project in which they will be also expanding to teach Spanish as well in the future. So they took advantage of my presence in the team, of my training in translation, and of my condition of Spanish speaker. And I would be conducting all of these activities, both in English and Spanish, depending on their needs. And it was, of course, a challenge because it was my first encounter with the labor market and with the real life situation. But I was very happy to see that I was applying my translation competence because documentation and research and editing and proofreading, all of those activities, I had learned how to perform those through my training on translation, because those are important parts of the translation process. So I would be working in related activities all the time. And I also had to face the challenge to really apply my metalinguistic and metacultural competences to be able to reflect on my own cultural peculiarities and the peculiarities and the interesting things about my own language and about English as well, because we had to be creative enough to create materials about topics related to Spanish speaking culture, to English speaking culture, and to general culture, of course, in ways that would allow teachers to teach the language, but also to make it interesting for students and that they would learn those aspects of the culture at the same time. So that was also a challenge that it was very satisfactory to see that I was prepared for facing, thanks to my training at the university. And of course, the biggest challenge I had to face was teaching English classes. Firstly, because we are not really trained to do so at the Modern Languages degree, and also because I was never really fond of the idea of teaching, so I was kind of afraid of it. But I discovered that with the right approach and creativity, you can really apply also all the language skills that we learn, and even somehow the translation competences, if you think about it the right way, to the teaching. And I had to develop new skills as well, and I had to really be open to learn from my students and from my teammates, and that was a very enriching experience I had, for which I discovered that teaching is not really that bad. One thing that I really liked about For You Too was that from the very beginning, I noticed that they didn't request the participants of the program to be native English speakers. And while working with them, I saw how they really embrace the diversity and the multiculturality of the English-speaking world. They offer students the opportunity to learn from English speakers of all kinds, natives, non-natives, from different countries and cultural backgrounds with different accents. And that makes a really great intercultural experience for the students. I have seen with my eyes how they really get to benefit from it. Students get really curious about the difference in pronunciation or vocabulary between one teacher and the other, and they get curious about our cultural backgrounds and our countries of where we come from. So they have a wider understanding of the English-speaking world and of English as a global language from the very beginning. And it was also a great experience for me as a member of the staff and as a languages student, because I got to work with people from Azerbaijan, Nigeria, Belgium, Italy, United States, Guyana, India, and so on. So it was very enriching to be able to learn from each other and also to communicate in English with them, because with time I noticed how my English was evolving. I was picking up vocabulary, I was getting to understand better what they said and to feeling more comfortable when communicating in English. So all of that made me reflect on the importance of this kind of experiences for everyone, basically, but even more for people who are learning a language. So that inspired me to write my cultural essay about the proper English accent and the consequences of the maintenance of this old belief. Because even though it might seem for us that this is a matter of the past, nowadays there are many people who still believe that some English accents are proper or adequate and others are not. And it's a reality that we still continues to bring negative consequences to our society. And I present some of them which are language discrimination, because this belief reinforces the negative stereotypes, the arbitrary negative stereotypes around groups of people, whether they are native speakers but they have just regional accents, or whether they are non-natives, which is uh, really hard to understand for me, because non-native speakers make the majority of the English speakers right now because of its global language condition. So this situation makes a lot of people have to go through very difficult times and to be discriminated against, basically for no reason. And this also adds up to other negative assumptions related to race and to national origin that only make the situation even worse for people who have different accents. And this can also evolve to the workplace and to other situations in which it really creates inequality of opportunities for many people, and creates a gap in which so many people have to fight really hard to get the same opportunities as others just because of their accent or because of their non-native condition. Um, and another consequence that this kind of belief can have is for the people who are learning English as a second language, because they get, if they are taught that there are only a couple of certain or right accents of English, and they have to learn only those, and they have to imitate perfectly those to really consider themselves fluent in the language and to have opportunities and so on, they will have unrealistic expectations about what the real life communication in English is, because when they face it, they will realize how diverse the English speaking world is, how many cultures are involved in it, how many non-native speakers there are in this world, and they will be frustrated and confused. And this will also inevitably lead also to language discrimination and so on. So it's a negative cycle that we should try to dissolve finally. And so to conclude, I would like to say that my internships were a very enriching experience for me, both personally and professionally. I felt like I learned a lot, and not just because of the many things I got to do related to my degree, but also because of the amazing intercultural experience, the people I got to share with, the opportunity to be in a foreign country to learn from zero a new language. And of course, I also feel really thankful to the School of Modern Languages, because even though I had to face many challenges and I didn't have all the answers, but I really felt prepared for the real labor market. Sometimes in this degree, we feel a little lost and we feel like we don't really know what we're going to do when we face the labor market. But I realized we are prepared for it, and I had the tools to really face those challenges, and I could apply that previous knowledge to the task I had to perform, and that was very satisfying. And of course, the opportunity of learning also new skills, of being able to get rid of my rejection of teaching, and all of that was also a new opportunity for me to open to other possibilities. So I would like to recommend to the School of Modern Languages to keep making efforts to make this kind of experiences of intercultural exchanges possible for other students, whether it is with internships or with student exchange, but I think everyone can benefit from this kind of experiences. It doesn't matter the professional option. We can all benefit from this, and that's why I also recommend for U2 Idiomas to keep their doors open to students from the University of Los Andes, because I think it's a great opportunity for both parties to benefit from each other. Thank you for your attention.